Hi guys, hope you're keeping safe and well in these difficult times. I'm here just putting the finishing touches in preparation for some online coaching in this studio. It's in my home, so it's all safe, in isolation, but I want to offer in online coaching, something I've not normally done, but in these times of need, we want to keep working on the game, developing and maintaining that progress. So if you've had a lesson with me before, great, we're going to be able to continue our work. Likewise, if you're brand new and you want to try it, that's great. Please get in touch at ZEN.com. I can give you some details on the prices, the times. I'm going to be doing it pretty much every day of the week, so we can find a time to suit you and keep that game progressing. Give you something to focus on in these weeks to come, so that when we do hit the season, you're all ready and raring to go. So I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, stay safe. I wish you the best of health and look forward to hearing from you. I got back from Portugal just in time before the lockdown happened. So all these videos were shot a few weeks ago. We got back home safe and sound. We're in isolation. I'm in my studio. It's not the studio that you normally see. It's a different studio, but it's at my home, so it's all safe. I hope you're all safe and sound. And hopefully this thing passes soon. In the meantime, here's a video on putting mechanics, but it all starts with green reading. So it's a bit of insight into how you should approach it, the visual aspect, painting a big mental picture which is enabling you to create the ideal putting stroke to match what you're seeing, so the ball goes in the hole. So enjoy. So if you're wondering why I'm soaked, it's not because I was wetting myself over the prospect of missing this putt. It's because I was walking through the sea earlier, couldn't refuse the opportunity. I had to have a little walk through the sea and it's caught me out. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm soaked all the way through, but hey, we're on holiday and loving it. So we're out here on the beautiful beach at Villamora, and we couldn't think of a better place to show you a bit of green reading. And also some of the common kind of pitfalls you might fall into, which lead to consistently missed putts. And you might be thinking it's your stroke, but how does the stroke organise itself? Well, it's organising itself to your intention. And what's your intention? It's the read. So we need to make sure we're reading the putt to enable us to make a good stroke. So what you might see someone do typically is stand behind the ball and stand behind the hole, and they're going to look at the severity of the slope and then kind of pick out where they want to aim, pick out a point of reference, some kind of apex. They may even use balls or distance from the hole, left or right. So there's an apex, and then they're going to try and hit to that apex. But what they're not taking into consideration, although that's the apex they've chosen, the ball is going to start rolling away from the apex. It's going to start rolling away from this line as soon as you hit it. As soon as the ball starts rolling, gravity is going to take it down the slope, so it's not going to roll in a straight line and then break. So often we underread the putt and the ball goes too far to the left, down the slope, and we lose it left. Okay, so you can see here the track of the ball. That was my intended line. Yes, I was stood slightly to the side of it, but as you can see here, as soon as I hit the ball, it started breaking off down the slope. That's going to miss considerably left. What we want to take into consideration first is, where does that ball need to enter the hole? So if I take 3 balls and place them around the hole, looking back at where my original ball was, so looking at the whole picture here from the hole, and then visualising the ball going in the hole, one of these balls here has got no chance of going in. This one here is going to miss low side. So if I was to position these 3 balls in a place where all three would go in, it would have to be round here. Now if I just take the middle ball and then start to track back, when we go back behind the golf ball now, this starts to look very different. Starts to look different. See the angle here into the hole? It's very different from looking at the apex. If we track it back further and further and further on the arc, you can see there's a very different picture emerging. Now that's just done by visualization. We also want to use a bit of information from the lie, from the slope. So what we can do is we can find the low point. The low point is the point on the green here where water would run to. We use the hole as a reference, so we look locally, and if just imagine water shooting out of this cup, where would the water drain off? It's going to drain off straight down here. So this is my low point. This is a straight putt. And if it's a plainer green, it's a straight putt. Straight down this line. So we're starting to create a picture of where our ball is in relation to the low point and where the hole is. So if I stand here, and now look at where my ball is in relation to me, I've got a real clear indication of the magnitude of the break. This is straight. If my ball was here, I've got a straight putt. As I move around here, the break starts to get bigger and bigger, right to left, until I get to a place where I'm almost at right angles here to that low point, and this is the biggest break possible for this hole. As I continue to move around the hole, the break's getting less and less and less and less, and I'm back to straight. So I'm starting to get an indication of the magnitude of the break. So it's all starting to piece together. I'm starting to get more information about the break, which is going to help me with my decision on the entry point into the hole. Where do I want the ball to enter? And then I can trace that back to the ball. Obviously, pace is an indicator as well. It's an influencing factor. The harder I hit, the straighter I can hit the ball. But I've also got to take into consideration, if I miss, how far away from the hole I'm going to finish. We'll talk about pace control in another video. What we're doing here is we're just looking at the topography of the green and starting to get as much detail and information as we can to make the best possible decision in where we're going to aim. What this does as well is this gives us a little bit more room for error. As we move further round, the chances of the hole in this putt start to increase. So those putts that you see at the Masters, when they've got the big breaking putts and they're stood here and the hole's over here, they've actually got quite a high chance of holing that, because all they've got to do is get the ball onto that break line, and then it's going to run in a straight line through the hole, because the greens there are so fast and slick, it's like glass. So you get the ball up onto what's called the angle of repose, and it will run down through the hole. Here we've not got a 16 stimp like the Augusta, but it is pretty quick. But what this is giving me is slightly more margin for error. For example, if this was a straight putt, I've got the hole. That's it, I've got the hole. But from here, I've got a big window of opportunity. If I hit the ball a bit firmer, I can take it in here. A bit softer up here, I can take it higher and come in here, depending on how I like to roll the ball. And we're going to talk about attuning yourself to the green speed in a different video, when we talk about putting mechanics. But for pure green reading, we can start to see this kind of cone emerge. And this is providing us an opportunity here to take any of these lines. So instead of seeing it as just one line we have to hit, we've actually got all this space. We've got to get the ball up here, gravity's going to do its job, and it's going to bring it into the hole, and then it's going to work off down the line. So we've got this funnel, if you like. So when we look from here, life doesn't seem so difficult anymore. We're actually starting to see the entry point. We know the severity of the slope. We've assessed it. And when we go in now, instead of picking a line here, which is like picking a spot on the driving range in front of your ball, it's going to throw interference in. If you were rolling a ball or throwing a ball, your attention is on the target, where the ball's going to go in or roll or fly into the target. You're not thinking about the apex of the flight, you're thinking about how am I going to get it in, how's it going to enter. It's the same philosophy. We're thinking about how it's going to enter and we're tracking it back, reverse engineering the process, and now we can start to adjust our alignment and stroke. If you struggle finding this low point, what you can do is start to attune yourself in your practice to slope. So you can, our feet are our best receptors. They're providing the perfect feedback for slope. They're what help us maintain balance in everyday life. We adapt to the ground. We've got to use our feet. When you walk downhill, you can sense you're walking downhill. If you're walking uphill, you can sense you're walking uphill. If I stand here, I can feel my right foot is lower than my left. As I move around, I can feel it starting to level up. Here, it's 50-50. As I go this way, my right foot's higher. So now I can feel this slope here. So I can very quickly find the 50-50 point, and now I'm on the break line. Now, this will take a long time on a golf course. And so I don't suggest you use it on the course. What I suggest you do is practice on the putting green. Practice sensing the slope, and then when you're on the course, you'll start to intuitively find the low point. It may take a second, but don't hang around. Even just walking below the hole, you'll get a sense of where it is. So this is the best place to read the putt, from here. You can see everything. You can see the ball location in respect to the hole, and you can see where the low point is in relation. So now you're starting to see the whole picture. You're taking in a lot of information in a very specific way, which is guiding you into that perfect line. And what this is going to enable you to do is organise your swing mechanics, your putting mechanics, in the most optimal way. And that's how you're going to putt better.